that craft, and it just freaked me out.
What did it look like? Went out the door. What did it look like there when you left the door?
Well, it was just there was a passageway. It was lit from above. Just the whole upper surface of the passageway was glowing faintly. It was dim. It was dimly lit everywhere. Even in there where the light fixture was over me on the table, it really wasn't all that bright. It was
kind of a glow.
Yeah, and kind of a non-directional, very soft, low kind of a light. If we were going to try to read by that light, it really, wouldn't be enough light.
Okay.
So it was dimly lit in there.
Speaking of reading, that brings to mind, what about eyes? You hear so much frequently about.
Well, when they came around and came towards me and I started striking out at them with this thing, they all stopped and they just stared at me there for an instant before they turned and left. And it was right then, that moment in which they were all three just looking at me in a way that it was actually the focal point of the fears that I had in the whole aftermath of the experience was those eyes looking into me.
Was it the stereotypical thing we see on television with the large black almond shape?
Well, no, and these eyes blinked. I actually saw them blink.
Okay.
It was not some kind of a fixed insect-looking eye kind of thing at all, but there was a look there, not from expression, but I don't know how you know how if at the zoo you look at an ape and they look at you and there's something different about what you see in the eyes of an ape compared to other animals, It's kind of like that, There's a sort of,
Was it a pupil and iris type thing?
Yes, yeah,
oh, really?
It was.
Well, the size of a human's?
Oh, much bigger, much bigger. Very large eyes,
Okay. Were their heads larger, or?
Yeah, their heads were pretty big for their bodies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was
And
it
hairless.
Triangular shape?
Well, they had small jaws. The lower part of their face was small, and then the upper part that would correspond to our cranium was pretty large.
Okay. Oh. Again, after you had gone out into the hallway, what was your experience? You, I believe, went in the opposite direction. You said they went to the right, and you went to the left.
Yeah.
What was your experience moving from there?
Well, I was just trying to get away from them and out of there any way I could. It was kind of a mindless, flight, like you say. But the passageway was curved, and curved so tightly that I couldn't see very far ahead and couldn't see behind me to see if they were chasing me. So I was just kind of in this torn situation of, running from something I don't know if it's there and running toward I don't know what because I can't see that far ahead.
What about your experience about any other part of the ship that you got to? What did that look like?
Well, the entire surface of the inside of that ship was a metallic, sort of a matte, non-reflective look, and pretty featureless. There weren't buttons and lights and dials and stuff all over the place like you'd see in a science fiction movie. It was a very featureless environment, very clean. But the one hope that I had of finding a way out was this one room I came to that had some controls on a chair that I thought might, open a door or be a way out.
Was it one of those stylized looking chairs?
It was curved, sort of sculpted. Everything in that place was very rounded and sculpted. The doorways and where the walls met the floor and all that. Everything was rounded and smooth.
What did you do? Did you sit in the chair then, or?
Yeah, it was really quite small for me, but I did move the lever, and it caused the star pattern to move. You could see the stars. Oh, well, they could have just been points of light. It wasn't like a window. It was like like the stars were either projected on, or somehow you could see through the surfaces of the floor and walls and ceiling.
Like a hologram almost.
Yeah, some kind of a projection or a viewing method.
Did that seem to respond at all to your moving the?
Yeah, the lever caused that to move, but these other buttons, I was mainly hoping to open a door, and most of them didn't do anything. Some of them caused this little screen to change a little bit, but it was moving that lever that really, you know, kind of it was disorienting to have all those star pattern move all simultaneously like that. So I resolved I wasn't going to mess with that anymore, and it was about that time that I somehow sensed that there was somebody watching me, and I turned to see this what I took to be a human being standing in the door there.
Looked like a person, human?
Yeah, and a human, you know, dressed in a blue suit, uniform of some kind.
Male, female?
It was a man,
Okay.
and he had a helmet on his head. But I assumed that, you know, this was somebody there to